Hey everybody, CajunTechie here. And most of you know that I tend to shy away from doing personal videos with this channel. I try not to talk a lot about myself, mostly because I think personal videos are either tremendously interesting or, incredibly boring, depending on the story that the person doing the video has. And I'm going to kind of deviate a little bit away from that today, simply because I think that I've been through an experience that some of you out there, in fact I know, some of you out there could probably benefit from hearing about. So, consider this a CajunTechie PSA, if you will. And I'm going to try to keep it pretty brief because I don't want to sermonize or moralize or anything like that. Last month, on the 11th, I was bitten by my dog. I scared him during the night, and he latched onto my foot and gave me a pretty good bite. Now, I'm diabetic, and so I have neuropathy quite bad, which means that I don't have very much feeling in my foot. And the dog did a little bit of damage, which I didn't feel. And so I didn't properly care for the wound, didn't really look because I didn't feel anything, and subsequently, didn't dress the wound, didn't do any of that. On the 14th, I started having a lot of pain. Now that's unnatural or not normal, I guess, for me, because like I said, I have severe neuropathy, so it takes an incredible amount of pain for me to actually feel anything. Nevertheless, on the 14th of November, I started feeling a lot of pain. And on the night of the 15th, I was washing my foot, noticed that it was kind of discolored. And when I was washing it, a whole layer of skin peeled back, revealing this cavity with a bunch of black in it. Now, those of you who know a little bit about medical things probably already know that that black was dead tissue, also known as gangrene. So the next day I went to the emergency room because, again, I still wasn't convinced that it was gangrene or anything serious. I went to the emergency room. Podiatrist confirmed that indeed it was gangrene, and there was an accompanying infection that was tunneling down the middle of my foot, or towards the middle of my foot. He was able to take one of those kind of Q-tip applicators, one of the really long ones, and actually insert it into the wound between my skin, between the layers of skin, and slosh it around like there was nothing there. It was that open all the way to the middle of my foot. So he immediately booked me into surgery and did what's called a debridement, which basically means that he went on my foot and he cut out the dead tissue, leaving a crater a good quarter of an inch deep in my foot, but still no dead tissue. And then he began packing the wound all the way from the middle of my foot, literally going between the skin layers with packing, and all the way, into the wound and dressing the wound and covering it. And now that may sound a little bit gross. I mean, it's really not as nasty as it sounds, to be honest, or maybe I just don't think it's as nasty as it sounds. But I tell you the story because I think that that's what it took to wake me up to the severity of diabetes. Up until that time, I knew that diabetes was a life-changing disease. I knew that diabetes was a disease where you could lose a leg or a foot or a toe, but it really just wasn't something that affected me. And this was a wake-up call in that it affected me in a very real way. I have a wound on my body now that's going to be there for possibly a couple of months that I'm going to be taking care of, that very well could have gone into losing a toe or losing a foot or, even in extreme cases, losing a leg. Very easily, and it happens to a lot of people where that aren't as lucky as I am that the doctor took such aggressive and quick action, to save my toe or I guess my foot. The other thing is, of course, the infection. I got another infection after I was out of the hospital, and I'm battling that now, but that seems to be going away. I guess what I'm trying to say in not so eloquent terms is take care of yourself, guys. If you're diabetic, take it seriously. I would routinely, even on medicine, get glucose readings of 260, 280, and it concerned me, but again, it was kind of like one of those far off things where it was like, okay, so I'm getting a really high reading. Oh well, that doesn't practically mean anything to me because I felt great. I was exercising, I felt good, I was drinking lots of fluid, doing all the right things that you should as a diabetic, except I wasn't eating right. I was eating pretty much anything I wanted. on average I was taking in about 190 to 200 grams of carbs a meal. The doctor subsequently put me on 90, and I personally believe from my own experimentation that I should be doing less than 40. So that should tell you kind of how messed up it was. So like I said, if you're diabetic, take it seriously, because this was a wake-up call for me that I didn't have to suffer. It could have cost me my foot. It could have cost me my toe. Might have even cost me my leg. And I know there are some of you out there, because I've gotten email, that are struggling with diabetes and are struggling with your, getting your levels in check and keeping your levels in check. Do what it takes. If you've got to go on insulin, go on insulin. If you've got to, it's all about food choice. It's all about lifestyle choice. It's imperative that you make a decision to live a healthy lifestyle, because that's what it's going to take. That's the only thing that can save you from diabetes, because diabetes is a malicious disease. It is a disease that will attack the body and take part by part by part of the body until it totally destroys your life. And like I said, this was a wake-up call for me, and I hope that you guys can use it as a wake-up call for you. Use my misfortune as a way to go, wow, that could be me. I'm a young man. I'm 36 years old. I thought diabetic complications were something 60-year-olds had happened to them, 70-year-olds had happened to them, not a 36-year-old active man. But it happened. Thankfully, it wasn't that bad, but it could have been. And so use my misfortune to your benefit. If you're diabetic, see your doctor, get on a meal plan. Take care of yourself, guys, because I need somebody to watch my videos, right? But seriously, take care of yourselves. Thanks for listening.